Welcome to the Milsurp Mike channel. As you can tell from the Israeli Mauser rifle and the 1934 Kriegsmarine Mauser pistol, I like to own milsurps that could tell interesting stories or came about during interesting times. This is why I could not resist buying this Chinese Arisaka when I came across it at a local pawn shop. I've avoided buying many rifles for a while now, as my safes are overfilled and Arisakas especially take up quite a bit of space with that bolt sticking straight out. And I already have a decent Arisaka collection. Still, when I see one at a gun store or pawn shop, I will still look to check out its condition and to see if the mum is still intact, and if it is a good price, I will let others know about it via a local Milsurp Facebook group. So when I saw what looked like a Type 38 with a bayonet, I asked to see it. Imagine my confusion when I saw that not only did it not have a mum, but it looked like it never had a mum and instead had Chinese writing in its place. While I imagine that the Chinese may have used captured Japanese Arisakas during the occupation and following Civil War, I saw no evidence that the receiver was ever ground, and these Chinese symbols were there from the beginning, indicating actual Chinese production of Arisakas. I decided to do some quick research, and wouldn't you know it, an article on CN Arsenal's website. Yep, Othias just isn't a pretty YouTube face. They've also had a website they've worked on prior to the channel, detailing this rifle. The characters perfectly matched what CN Arsenal said translated to 6.5 infantry rifle, and even had an early inspector character prior to the serial number. Basically, there was a Chinese warlord named Yan Zihan who grew up in the Shaanxi province. Originally known for banking, its economy collapsed, leading to Yan going to a military school and later to Japan to study at the Imperial Japanese Army Academy. While there, he was impressed with how much Japan had progressed from isolation to a modern military in such a short time. Japan also defeated Russia in the Russo-Japanese War during his time, which increased his infatuation with how the Japanese government was able to mobilize support for its military. He became disgusted with the corruption of the Qing dynasty and blamed them for China not modernizing during the 19th century. He had dreams of uniting China in the same manner that Otto von Bismarck united Germany. When he returned to China, he joined organizations whose goal was to get rid of the Qing dynasty. By 1912, the dynasty was over, and a period of warlord infighting took place until Chiang Kai-shek's victory of the Central Plains War in 1930 more or less reunified China. During this time, Yan led and was the warlord of the Shaanxi province, which was one of the poorer provinces in China. He wanted to modernize Shaanxi as he had seen happen in Japan, all the while keeping the province neutral in the warlord fighting by basically switching sides at opportune times to make sure he was on the winning side. While weaker than his neighbors, he still held the balance of power among them, as even the warlords he betrayed would not retaliate because they might need him in the future. Yan joined up with and later fought against Chiang and was forced into exile in Manchuria. While there, he learned of the impending Japanese invasion. Manchuria fell, and Chiang let Yan resume control over Shaanxi to keep it from falling into Japanese hands. It was during this time my rifle was produced. It's almost an exact copy of the early Type 38 rifles that Japan discontinued in 1919. It is believed that Yan purchased the equipment from Japan while in one of his stints controlling Shaanxi. This rifle was produced in 1930 or 31 and has the symbols that translate as 6.5 infantry rifle, and it has a one-piece stock as opposed to the two-piece stocks on Japanese Arisakas, due probably to the availability of better quality wood. It is estimated that there were nearly 100,000 of these made. Yan fought both the Japanese and Communists and was able to retreat and hold out in a section of the Shaanxi province until the end of the Second Sino-Japanese War. He gained the respect of the Japanese for his tenacity, and they tried to make peace with him several times. This and his earlier infatuation with Japan led him to be able to recruit thousands of ex-Japanese soldiers after the war to join the fight against the Communists. While trying to secure supplies for Shaanxi from Chiang, the capital, Taiwan, fell and he was unable to return. He was forced to flee to Taiwan with the rest of the Chinese nationalists and spent the rest of his life writing. He accurately predicted the events of the Korean War. The North would invade the South, the U.S. would step in and drive all the way to the Yalu River, Communist China would step in, and it would end in a stalemate. He also wrote about philosophy. He died in 1960. As for the Chinese Arisakas, at some point during the Second Sino-Japanese War, all the 6.5mm ammunition was lost, and the Chinese looked to Mausers. Most of the Arisakas left would be converted, many to shoot 7.62 by 39 during the Civil War, which is why there aren't many of these left. I only had 20 rounds of the 6.5 by 50mm ammo, so my shooting was abbreviated. The heft of the full-size rifle, along with the strong Arisaka action and lighter round, made for very little recoil. This is a fairly accurate rifle, which is to be expected since Japanese snipers preferred the Type 38 over the Type 99 during the Second World War. I would have liked to shoot this more, but considering ammo costs $40 a box when I can even find it, I had to stop at 20 rounds. I know I barely skimmed Chinese history during the turbulent period between the fall of the Qing dynasty and the communist takeover in 1949, and I encourage you to read deeper. I know it's quite hard for me to follow with all the switching of sides by various parties. At least I know more now than I did before, thanks to this oddball, at least historically, rifle. Milsurps and Sabaton songs are two things that can lead me down historical rabbit holes. If you like what you see, please check out some of my other videos, comment, like, and subscribe. Also, check out my Facebook, Patreon, and Twitter links. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.